Welcome to Fearless with Jason Whitlock. I am Jason Whitlock, your host. Man, thank you for joining me. Still got my Kleenexes out. I'm still struggling a bit, but I'm going to deliver. I'm going to deliver because I have no choice. We have a fantastic show. Shamika Michelle, well, not really Shamika Michelle, Dr. Shamika Michelle is going to join us today on the show. She's going to talk. Anyway, you'll see here in a second, or you'll see later in the show why Dr. Shamika Michelle is going to join us. Warren Sapp, an all-time NFL great and one of the best people talking about football, is going to join the show. I will extend my conversation on Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe at the top of the show, and ESPN at the top of the show. Fantastic show. Thank you for joining me. And, it's the new year. And so this is a great opportunity for me to remind you guys about all the great work we did last year because of you. What we did with Preborn's network of clinics. We saw over 58,000 babies saved. Thank you. Thank you for everyone who has heard Preborn's message and my message and the way we have unpacked that message on this show. I just thank you from the bottom of my heart, because you guys, just to refresh your memory, for those of you that are perhaps new to the show, Preborn provides ultrasounds to expectant mothers and mothers who are considering abortion. Once you provide a woman, a pregnant woman, an ultrasound, she hears that baby's heartbeat, she sees an image of that baby inside her womb, she is more than twice as likely to choose life. And so for $28, you can sponsor an ultrasound. And we spend a lot of time on this show with Preborn is perhaps, probably, arguably, yes, it is, our favorite sponsor here, just because it's part of our life mission to support life and to support those babies inside the womb and the mindset that understands that life begins at conception, not after delivery, at conception. The things that you do for a child while they're in the womb has an impact on their ability to read, write, their IQ, their comprehension level of reading books to your baby and talking to your baby while in the womb. How can you argue that life doesn't begin at conception inside the womb? Preborn supports that, once again, by providing ultrasounds. It's our mission to save 100,000 babies this year through Preborn, through gifts to Preborn. As a fearless soldier, if you're new to joining the Fearless Army, this is part of our worldview. This is a part of our mission to support Preborn. We've had Dan Steiner, the founder, on. We know where our money goes. It's not about funding a bunch of mid-level executives, $200,000 and $300,000 a year salaries. It goes directly to supporting women and providing those ultrasounds they desperately need. And then after the woman chooses life, Preborn steps in and supports that woman as she goes through the pregnancy and through the first 2 years of that baby's life, diapers, whatever. Preborn helps provide those things. We got to continue to give to Preborn. The way you do that, just hit pound 250, say the keyword baby. That's pound 250, keyword baby. Or you can give the way that I prefer to give by going to preborn.com/fearless. That's preborn.com/fearless. That is part of our worldview and mindset. I want to start here with today's show. I want to start by, because I talked about this in yesterday's show, where I gave a long explanation of, or long response to Stephen A. Smith's rant about me. If you didn't listen to yesterday's show, you should. Stephen A. Smith, of course, did a 50-minute rant calling me names and cursing and, worst human on the planet. I try to respond to all of that and put into context what I'm really doing as it relates to Stephen A. Smith. And at the end of that show, or at some point in that show, I brought up Shannon Sharpe and the comments he made about Stephen A. Smith's rant and beef with me. I want to replay that clip of Shannon Sharpe on his show, Club Shay Shay, or the Nightcap, talking about me and why he doesn't mess with me and how I can't do what he can do. Play the clip.
Oh,
Right.
I don't look. I don't mess with him. I don't mess with him. He knows I don't mess with him. He likes to bring my name. Fox tried to feed him some information about this and that, and he threatened. I don't get into all that. I just look. I know who I am. I know what I am. Okay, y'all say all y'all little stuff because see the problem that he has with me. See, and this is what a lot of people have that are journalists. You see, I can sit at the desk on ESPN or I did it at Fox, and I can do what they do. They could never live in my world. They could never play pro sports. So now, not only could I play sports and I was damn good, I can sit across and I'm more entertaining. I'm more informative. I'm more educational than you. And see, those that can do, those that can't talk. You see, all they can do is talk. I could do. That irks them.
Yeah.
It irks them that somebody from rural South Georgia with a lisp that overcame that can do this. It bothered them.
So Shannon Sharpe's position is that I could never do what he do or what he does. I could never live in his world. We could never play professional sports. And he's accurate. But what he doesn't understand is I could never do what he did. And so now that Shannon Sharpe and I are both in our 50s, what he did in his 20s and 30s, it's irrelevant. The things that he did in his 20s and 30s, I think me and Shannon are around the same age. And so when we were in our teenage years and 20s, I could do what Shannon Sharpe did in his teenage years and 20s. I played Division I college football. He played at Savannah State. He was more talented than playing at Savannah State, but because his grades and learning ability were limited at that time, he could only get into Savannah State. And so back when we were younger, I did what Shannon Sharpe did. Now, did I have as much football talent as Shannon Sharpe? Absolutely not. I mean, I never got a sniff of the NFL. No one, I was never an NFL prospect. But neither is Shannon Sharpe now. He's not. He's 50-some odd years old. He's got replaced hips. So it doesn't matter what he used to do. I'm not jealous of him about what he could do, and I could never do what he did. He's right. I'm not jealous of that. He doesn't understand that he can never do what I do. And I'm not saying that to brag, but Shannon Sharpe's never going to be a journalist, ever. He has no interest in being a journalist. He doesn't need to be a journalist because journalism's not valued in this space the way that it used to be. And so it's could I do what Shannon Sharpe does now? Absolutely. I don't want to do it. I refuse. It's like the whole point of the Katt Williams interview clearly flew over Shannon's head. And this, again, is why I say he can't do what I do. He can't think critically. He can be entertaining, and I've given him credit for that. He is entertaining. He's worked on his broadcasting skills, and he's created an environment where other people who don't really think critically feel comfortable coming on his show and sharing their thoughts. I hats off to him. I've celebrated what he's doing and how he's transitioned, how much more I enjoy it than what he did at FS1. But I've made a choice because the things he's doing now, I think, are very easy. And Katt Williams went on Shannon Sharpe's show and basically for 3 hours explained what it is Shannon Sharpe does. And there are many people who picked up on the fact that Katt Williams was perhaps trolling or trying to send a bat signal to Shannon Sharpe. Like, hey, bro, in order to get the support from the industry, you have to be willing to sell out. You have to be willing to bend over. You have to abandon your godly beliefs. Anybody can do that. And Katt Williams, again, this is my interpretation and other people's interpretation, was telling Shannon, we know what you did to get here. And hats off for the work you've done and put in. This is enjoyable. But Shannon, we've all sat and watched a pro football player run around the country, promote stuff on his Instagram and social media feeds that his BFF is some out-of-the-closet gay male stylist. And we've watched y'all sit courtside at NBA games. We've watched you walk around with some little poodle or puppy like Paris Hilton. We've seen all of that. And Katt Williams was trying to say, like, hey, bro, don't take the deal. He was trying to win over Shannon Sharpe's head. And someone sat on his show and explained to everybody, here's what you need to do to be super successful in this industry. Here's what you need to do to get the backing of the major media companies, the major Hollywood industry. You have to be very flexible sexuality-wise. I don't know anything about Shannon Sharpe's sexuality. I really don't. I tend to think he's heterosexual. I tend to think based off when I used to be friendly with him and what all I know, the kind of jokes, again, Shannon Sharpe's famous joke, if you ever see me with a black woman, I'm holding her for the police. That was Shannon Sharpe. Heterosexual like white girls. I'm not knocking it, I'm just explaining it. But I don't know where he's at in any of that. I just know the kind of signals he's letting off. And again, I'm not saying the guy needs to be anti-LGBTQ. I'm not saying that he has to be that. I'm not saying he can't have LGBTQ friends. But when your social media feed and part of you build into part of your public persona is that your best friend, your road dog, the guy you running around with, is an out-of-the-closet gay male stylist, you letting off signals to the puppet masters that I'm down for the play. I'll take the deal. That's what Katt Williams was trying to subtly point out to you. Like, are you down for the deal? You got all the attention over here. Everybody, your show's going bonkers, and this interview now has 40 million views. Did you take the deal? And so there's, as I said yesterday, but I just want to clear it up and say it, put a little more focus on it. There's nobody with a brain and any experience in the sports TV industry that isn't well aware there's nothing on sports television, from cracking jokes to doing serious interviews to putting together monologues to being entertaining, funny, whatever, that I can't do. But there are certain things I will not do. I will not violate my values. I will not promote things I don't believe in. I will not send off bat signals like, I'm down for the play. I'm flexible. Won't do it. I could do it, but I won't do it. Anybody, and again, as Katt Williams is explaining, everybody is doing what you're doing. They're hopping on board with the Alphabet Mafia because they know they have to in order to get the support that they want on YouTube or on cable sports TV. So it's gone over Shannon Sharpe's head, but not mine, because I can think critically. What Katt Williams was trying to communicate to Shannon Sharpe. And Shannon, I don't want you to think this is hate, because it's not. I'm just trying to explain to you and the world what it is you're doing, and we can all see it. Katt Williams could see it. And so I hope this explanation helps you. I wish you all the success in the world. I've said to everybody, hey, man, this guy's going to be bigger than Stephen A. Smith and everybody in the sports media world. He's entertaining, he's funny, and he's giving off all the signals that he'll play the game that needs to be played. I won't do it. I don't want to do it. It's that simple. I'm sorry. and I don't like making excuses, but I shouldn't have. I've done 2 other interviews before doing this show, and that was a mistake. And I'm only saying that is because I owe you all my best. And so I just spent an hour and a half talking, doing other people's shows and other things before serving my audience. And I apologize for that, and I apologize for this cough, because the first hour and a half I was talking, I wasn't coughing like this, but my throat only has so much, and I'm pushing it. I apologize. It sounds like an excuse. I need to soldier through this, and I'm going to. I got one more little piece I want to add to that before I transition into my interview with the doctor. But before I do that, I want to talk to you guys about, my cell phone service that I've now had for a little more than a year. And you guys know I made the switch to Patriot Mobile. For more than 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been America's only Christian conservative wireless provider, standing behind their values and their exceptional service. They are an example of putting the cause ahead of the profits, and it's why I'm proud to partner with them. Starting today, Patriot Mobile is extending their Black Friday deal to every Friday Matters deal. And you can get a free smartphone when you switch today. Patriot Mobile offers dependable nationwide coverage, giving you access to all 3 major networks, which means you get the same coverage you've been accustomed to without funding the left. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you're supporting free speech, religious freedom, the sanctity of life, our veterans and first responders, and more. Their 100% U.S.-based customer service team makes switching easy. Keep your number, keep your existing phone, or for a limited time, get a free smartphone from Patriot Mobile. Go to patriotmobile.com/Jason or call 972-PATRIOT and use the promo code Friday76. Again, get a free smartphone with the promo code Friday76. This is a limited time offer. Join me. Make the switch today. patriotmobile.com/Jason. That's patriotmobile.com/Jason or call 972-PATRIOT. Final point I want to make, and this relates to Stephen A. Smith and just the feud that's been ongoing and the content we've been putting out this week. I want to make one more final point, because people that I trust, that are close to me, that are assisting me, mentoring me, discipling me in my faith walk, have had some appropriate questions, in my opinion, and giving me pushback and showing concern, like, hey, man, are you handling this right and properly? Hey, show Stephen A. Smith some grace. And I got a very thoughtful email from one of these people. We had an email exchange, and I've had some conversations with people with the same deals, like, hey, mate, make sure you're modeling Christian behavior and show Stephen A. Smith some grace, and make sure that he knows that even though you have these criticisms of him, that as a Christian, you would welcome him on a more authentic or appropriate Christian journey. And same thing for Deion Sanders and all that. And so I told these guys that I'm going to marinate on the feedback, and I am, and I will continue to. But I just want to, and this is what I shared with them, I want to make sure everybody understands fully what it is I'm doing and have been doing, and just have the proper context to evaluate what it is I'm doing. Because, I understand why some people are like, hey, man, is Jason trying to humble Stephen A. Smith? Is Jason trying to replace God? and render judgment and condemnation and consequences for Stephen A. Smith. And I'm not. I'm not trying to humble Stephen A. Smith. I'm trying to explain to others why we're getting so much bad information and how Stephen A. Smith helps us understand why the media is giving us so much bad information. And I'm also just doing what I've always done as a journalist. I've always been a critic of the media, all media. It's all over my writing since the very first time I ever wrote a column. You can go it's all over my, anytime I've told the story about why I got involved with the media in college. Again, I tell people, I grew up reading the newspaper, the coverage of the Indiana Pacers when I was a kid. The Pacers were horrible. The coverage in the newspaper was horrendous. They covered the Pacers as if they were winning championships. And so when I got involved in the sports media, when I switched my major to journalism halfway through my freshman year, I thought about Mike Royko and I thought about who am I going to serve if I ever get in a position to be a columnist? I always said I'm going to serve the audience, not the people that I cover. I've told this story for years. But the coverage of the Pacers so infuriated me. I used to read the beat writers and the columnists in Indianapolis Star and News and say, man, they're not writing for me. They're writing for the guys on the team and the coaches on the team and the executives on the team. They could care less about the subscribers to the newspaper. And I used to say, hey, man, there's 15 guys on the roster and a handful of executives and coaches that matter. You know, maybe there's 20 people they're writing for. And at the time, I was at the Indianapolis Star, they have a subscriber base of 500,000. Why wouldn't I write for that 500,000 rather than those 15 or 20 people? That's been my mentality. So I don't sit around and think about, oh God, I wonder how Dion or this coach or this athlete or that athlete is going to feel about what I say. I just want to be truthful with the audience. That's one. And so by the time I started writing a column, when I got to Ann Arbor, Michigan in 1992, covering the Fab Five and following the Michigan football team, I started criticizing Steve Fisher, the head basketball coach in Michigan, and Gary Moeller, the head football coach in Michigan. Let's go back to 1992, anybody in Ann Arbor. And one of the very first stories ever written about me was in the Ann Arbor Observer. I think it was published in 1993. I was been there a year and had this incredible impact. And so the Ann Arbor Observer wrote this long magazine piece on me. And I think in the headline, they called me an iconoclast. And I can remember, iconoclast, I had to go look it up. And it's basically someone that likes challenging icons. And I was, oh, wow, they've nailed me. When I looked it up, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. I like challenging icons. And that's who I was. And they were talking about, man, Steve Fisher is an icon. He's the head basketball coach. And no one has criticized him because they're so worried about, well, they have access to him. No one's criticized Gary Moeller. He's the football coach. Well, we have access to him. Whitlock's an iconoclast. He takes on icons. Written about me in 93. I don't know if it's on the internet, but I'm sure it can be found. Anything can be found. So when I further along in my career, while still in Ann Arbor, but even long past there, I started going after the icons in the sports media. And it was Mitch Albom. If you know anything about the history of sports writing, Mitch Albom was the dominant sports writer of the 1990s and 2000s. He'd win all these awards, and everybody called him the best sports writer since Red Smith, and he's this and he's that. And I would call BS on Mitch Albom, and I started calling him Myth Albom because I thought he played fast and loose with the truth, and I thought he chose to write hagiographies rather than the truth. And I thought he exaggerated things. And as I said yesterday, and I'll just repeat again, like he wrote a book about the Fab Five, and he said that Chris Webber, he painted some scene that Chris Webber couldn't afford McDonald's while playing basketball at Michigan. And I was like, are you kidding me? These guys are driving brand new SUVs to practice. I've been to Chris Webber's apartment, played video games with him all day. His apartment is plush, it's laid out with everything. And Mitch Albom is pretending like he can't afford McDonald's. This is a joke. Mitch Albom was very angry with me about that. Years later, Selena Roberts wrote a book about Alex Rodriguez. I shredded the book. She was another seller. She was a celebrated female journalist. How dare Jason Whitlock criticize Selena Roberts? She got mad at me, called me a homophobe. I didn't even know she was homosexual. She called me a homophobe and said that's why I was criticizing. Years later, I ripped Joe Posnanski, a celebrated writer. He was the next version of Mitch Albom. Loved to write these hagiographies. He wrote a book about Joe Paterno. It was terrible. I wrote about it, criticized him. All these things were very controversial, and I got a lot of blowback from the establishment sports media. How dare you challenge these people? I've been an iconoclast my entire career. I've criticized the sports media my entire career. The only thing that has changed, who are the icons today in the sports media? They're predominantly on ESPN or Fox Sports. Many of them are either black athletes or Stephen A. Smith. Back when I was criticizing Mitch Albom, Joe Posnanski, Selena Roberts, as it related to the sports media, there were only really two black guys killing it and making noise at that time, and it was me and Mike Wilbon. That's it. Now, there are a lot of black guys, black athletes, Stephen A. Smith, Jamel Hill, whomever, at the top. And I still am doing the exact same thing, calling BS on the icons of the sports media. And so there's this thing, we want, black people, we want all the power and none of the bad things that go along with seizing power. When you have power, people are going to criticize you. People are going to hold you accountable. People are going to have expectations and standards for you. And the regime is cleverly using black icons as a shield to lower standards and accountability for the powerful and the elite. Because now, and all these people that, again, aren't aware of the history, have forgotten the history, never knew of the history, don't understand what comes along with power and ascending to the top of the profession. Oh, how dare you criticize Stephen A. Smith? That's racist. And you're just picking on black people, and you're trying to humble him, or you're trying to do, no, I'm doing the exact same thing I've been doing the entire time. And it's what we need to do with all icons. Hold them to a high standard. They're getting all the money. They have the ability to influence large swaths of people. They need to be held accountable. When I get held accountable, when people write all kinds of negative things about me, you don't see the kind of across the internet, social media whining and crying. Hey, Whitlock deserves that. He can handle that. He wants to run his mouth and say X, Y, and Z. Hey, that's what comes along with it. Because I'm not looking to be a victim. I'm not going to nail myself to a cross. I'm not Jesus Christ. And that's why I'm not trying to humble anybody. I'm trying to do what journalists are supposed to do. What I've been doing my entire 33-year career. But there are new people that have ascended to power, and they don't want to be held accountable. They don't want to be held to a standard. That Stephen A. Smith can write whatever lie he wants in his book, and he can go exaggerate whatever he wants, and he can go suggest and tell everybody to take the vaccine. He can go tell people, yeah, illegal immigration's good. He can lie and smear BYU as racist because somebody's auntie said on Twitter. Hey man, if you want the authority, the power, the paycheck. There's some headaches that come along with that. Criticism. So, and we're being manipulated into removing accountability from the people in charge. That's why they're installing these puppets. Hey, if we put these black puppets and let them pretend like they're actually calling the shots, when Big Pharma is telling them what to do, the same as whatever white puppet we install. When the global elites are telling them what to do, we can, oh, it's racism. I'm just not with it. So if you don't want the smoke, don't take the job. That's my point. Guys, I want to talk to you guys about the real story of Colony Ridge. Blaze TV is debuting the second episode of our docuseries, Blaze Originals, where Glenn Beck traveled to the quickly evolving Liberty County, Texas, to give you the real story of Colony Ridge. Colony Ridge is growing fast, extremely fast, at a rate of 200 lots per week. And based on what Glenn and the Blaze Originals team observed firsthand, the overwhelming percentage of residents are Spanish-speaking non-citizens. Glenn spoke with the developer, John Harris, and while he stated approximately 35,000 people live there, the local officials contradicted him, estimating the actual population is more than twice that. If nothing is done about this, there will be hundreds of thousands of people living in Colony Ridge in just a few years. And that's where you come in. Both the right and left-wing media have given vastly conflicting reports on Colony Ridge, and Blaze TV couldn't have traveled there to get you the real story without your support. This documentary is only the beginning of our Blaze Original series exposing corruption and what's really going on in our country. And we can't do these productions without your help. That's why, if you aren't already a subscriber of Blaze TV, subscribe right now for $30 off an annual subscription by visiting blazeoriginals.com and use the promo code Colony Ridge. In this latest episode, Glenn addresses all the rumors and brings you the truth. Is Colony Ridge specifically targeting illegal immigrants to take up residency? What is the toll on the existing residents? Is any of this even legal? And would you believe me if I told you that Colony Ridge could fundamentally change the political landscape of Texas and even the nation forever? Colony Ridge poses an enormous threat to the future of our country. And again, we could not have made the real story of Colony Ridge without your support. So if you want to see this episode and future installments, help support the work we're doing by visiting blazeoriginals.com today and subscribe using the promo code Colony Ridge for $30 off your annual subscription. All right, we've done some relentless homework in search of the doctor. Where's my, what did I do with my, there was this, my screw, is that over there on that table? I brought it on the orange table. What did I do with that? No one remembers removing the screw that was on that table. David Reed brought it to me. Come on, is it on the floor over there? I brought in a 6-inch screw because we got the doctor who installed that screw in Stephen A. Smith's knee. We're going to bring her on. There we go. There's my 6-inch screw. I knew I brought it. This is a 6-inch screw. That's in Stephen A. Smith's knee. The doctor who performed the surgery.
These words are our religion, no regrets in our decisions. We all want to go to heaven with freedom. It's my obligation, no hate, discrimination, raising up your hands for freedom.
All right, welcome back. As promised, yesterday, if you watched the show, you know, we put out our wanted poster and about Stephen A. Smith, and we were looking for information about anybody that had information about Stephen A. Smith and his illustrious career at Winston-Salem State University. And I asked for tips. We put out a wanted poster asking for tips, and we have produced some fruit from our tips hotline, and thank you so much. And we want to remind you all, you can send us tips if you have information about Stephen A. Smith's illustrious career at Winston-Salem State, please email me at fearlessblazeshow@gmail.com. So we hunted down, Stephen A. told an incredible story about the 6-inch screw that he has in his knee. He's got one of these in his knee. Play the clip of Stephen A. talking about his 6-inch screw.
My bone cracked in half my first year at Winston-Salem State. I still have those knee pains to this very day. Still, in the knee that still has a 6-inch screw in it that I never took out. And in the left knee, because I spent years overcompensating for the pain in the right knee. You didn't know that, did you?
Yeah, I've been there, Stephen A., when I've tried to sell 2 inches at 6 inches. I remember those days. But Stephen A. has one of these in his knee. And so we put out the TIPS hotline, and we came up with some results here. We have found the doctor who performed the emergency kneecap replacement surgery on Stephen A. Smith at Wake Forest University. Installed. This is, and from what I understand, he had Knee-Gina surgery where they install a vagina in the knee, and they call it a Knee-Gina. And Dr. Michelle, don't let me. We discovered the doctor that did this surgery. Could you talk to us about this procedure?
Hello, Jason. Thank you for having me on. Yes, we did what's called a Knee-Gina. And as a Black woman, we are the most educated in America. So yes, this was, a groundbreaking surgery. And a Knee-Gina, in order to have this 6-inch screw, it's a cavity first, a 6-inch cavity that has to be put in first. And with this Knee-Gina, it's something that, doesn't have to be shaved or waxed. It lubricates itself so that, you don't feel screwed. And so that's what's used, when you have to have something like that put in when you completely break the bone. And I've done these surgeries all around. You can put in I put in a wrist-gina. You can see the screw that I put into a wrist. And we do this. And as a Black woman, I just feel proud to be able to have done that for such a great Black man.
Have you done any work for any other high-profile celebrities? Is this a common thing, the Knee-Gina, the wrist-gina, or a lot of several celebrities having these procedures done?
Jason, as an orthopedic surgeon, we work with the musculoskeletal system, and that includes appendages. So, I did Deion Sanders' toes. I did, y'all call her Michelle, but Michelle Obama. I worked on her appendages, and I actually also worked on Caitlyn Jenner's appendage. Yes, so I do this all the time as a Black woman. And Jason, I'm so good as the most educated in the country that I could put this stethoscope on and listen to your lungs right through the screen because I'm a Black woman. Yes. So this is what I do. This is a groundbreaking surgery. I know it sounds far-fetched, but yes, Stephen A. Smith has a Knee-Gina. Some people think he has a vagina as well, but I can definitely tell you I worked on the Knee-Gina for sure.
Thank you, Dr. Michelle. We appreciate this information, and we bow to you as a Black woman. Can I just throw in a Yas queen as we let you go? You definitely are a queen, and if I ever would like to have a vagina installed anywhere on my body, I guess I'll be contacting you.
And thank you so much. And I just want to tell your audience, if you need me, if you need us, and people say, don't call Stephen A. Smith's doctor, let me tell you, we don't care. You can call us whenever you need to. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Michelle. Wow. I would like to reach out to anybody else if we could put the wanted poster back up. If you have information about Stephen A. Smith, maybe you were there on that fateful day when he took on Franklin Williams, the 6'2", 215-pound high school teammate, while Stephen A. Smith was 5'9", 130 pounds. Maybe you were there the day that one-on-one confrontation transpired, because Stephen A. said that the students around Thomas Edison High School, and I'm not kidding, in his book, that this one-on-one conflict between Stephen A. and Franklin Williams was so dramatic and so entertaining that kids from around the school started coming into the gym to watch Stephen A. destroy Franklin Williams. Maybe you were there that day and you would like to share that story. Please reach out to me at fearlessblazeshow@gmail.com. When we come back, Warren Sapp is going to join us.
Megyn Kelly, previously on Fearless.
Do you think Joe Biden will be on the ballot come November? Next November?
Such a hard question, but all right, if I have to answer it, I'm gonna say yes, because even though everyone around him and Axelrod and others are saying, you need to step down, this is absurd, you can't do it, I just don't think he's gonna voluntarily walk away from power. I just think he's not going to do it willingly. He's not going to do it. And I don't think he's going to listen to Barack Obama coming and pulling him aside, saying for the good of the country. I think he's full of hubris. I think he's a dishonest person. I think he is very narcissistic, as you kind of have to be in order to run for president. And he's going to think he can do it and that everybody else is wrong.
All right, you know what time it is. It's time for the best football conversation of the week. Time to bring in the QB killer, Warren Sapp, one of the greatest football players of all time. I'm going to do my part and lob up these softballs, and then we'll watch Warren hit him over the fence.
Is that Warren, an Army jacket you have on there?
No, Adidas.
That works. That
Adidas
works.
Jacket. Yeah.
That works.
Warren, the Tennessee Titans fired Mike Vrabel in a surprise decision. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I think Vrabel is a good coach. I think they haven't figured out the quarterback thing. I've never liked Ryan Tannehill. I think Malik Willis I think they miss with, and maybe Will Levis they miss with. Yep. But the quarterback situation has been the problem here. What are your thoughts on Mike Vrabel getting fired?
I do like Mike Vrabel myself, but we got to go back to them trading A.J. Brown away, too. So if you go on a quarterback situation, you're going to need a receiver for him to throw it to. And I think everybody is on the tip that the Patriot way is dead. And, that he's another one. But he's one of the better ones. It ain't many of them, you know what I'm saying, that you can look at and say, prepare their team pretty well to go play a football game. And Vrabel had something when he had, Derrick Henry, but once that leg broke and, hey, the mask is off, and now it's about, can you prepare your team to go out and get it done? And that quarterback situation really got crazy. I mean, I don't know which one was his favorite, but they missed on all three.
So you think, and we've heard you say it before, the Patriot way is dead. Yeah. I think Mike Vrabel is going to get another head coaching job this offseason. I think you think that. I'm not sure if NFL owners think the Patriot way is dead.
Okay. They normally don't surprise fire you when you're ready for another job, right? You ain't the new hot candidate. You have no offensive new scheme or anything you're bringing in. And the defense you played is what? The old Patriot? That's what it is. That's what he knows. There's nothing else to Vrabel, no, except reporting on goal line situations and catching some touchdowns in the Super Bowl, which is a little uncommon. But other than that, and not one time do you remember them saying number 50 is eligible on those Super Bowls, do you? Me either.
Maybe not.
Me either.
You don't think he's a candidate to replace Bill Belichick if Bill Belichick and the Patriots part ways?
No. I think Robert Kraft is about to craft him a whole new general manager, head coach situation to where now maybe the Krafts get a little credit for what's going on with the championships in New England because they've been owning that thing since, 94? And I don't think at any time he gets any credit.
It's a lot. He's one of the most celebrated owners.
Oh, no. Rick Ross
People
at the
love
party, all that. Kraft,
Yeah.
one of them cool dudes. Yeah, no doubt about it. But it's time for Kraft to get a little credit for what goes on in his organization, isn't it? Yeah, it is.
I think he gets a lot of credit.
Oh, he doesn't.
How do you? That's how you get away with the rub and tug because they gave you a bunch of credit.
No, that's just being a billionaire. That's how that is. And this is a authorized sting with a search warrant, and we get nothing. Unbelievable, right? It's just what it is, though. You know, that's being a billionaire. That's what that is. That's nothing to do with the Patriots.
Oh, yeah, all right, yeah.
No.
All right. Let's move on to the story of the NFL last weekend. I've told you about the hottest news this week, Vrabel getting fired. The story from last weekend, Jameis Winston and the New Orleans Saints decide victory formation, coach wants us to take a knee. We make a team decision to get Jamal Williams a touchdown. Your thoughts?
These kids are out of their mind, Whitlock. What about the guy that goes to the captain's circle in Green Bay because they just going to his hometown? And not only do he go to the captain's circle, but he proceeds to do the Warren Sapp and kick off twice. And he's not the captain. I would have slapped him. You know, he might would have just went all the way out, you know? You felt so disrespectful.
How you make a team decision
without the
I thought
headband?
Shannon Sharpe had a great point. How you make a team decision without the defense? Did the defense participate in deciding to change? It's not a team decision.
No.
A handful of offensive players.
Damn the defense, because we could care less. The more points on the scoreboard, the more chances we have to go hunt the quarterback. There's a bunch of crazy people on defense. We're talking about the head football coach. How do you make any decisions and call it a team decision and the head man is not on board? That's all I want to know. Damn the defense, because we crazy. We want anything. Run it up. Give me another chance to hunt the quarterback. But the head man has to deal with this. That's why you got to cover it with him. That's why you got to clear it with him.
And so I was in a discussion, an argument. I'm on naming it TJ Moe, who's on the show, where I'm like you. It's like, man, these young guys are out of control. TJ's like, well, you got to blame DA. Then I said he should have set an environment where they had more respect for him than that. And I'm like, hey, man, these guys make a lot of money now and feel like they have a lot of autonomy. The players have changed. There's only so much a coach can do. Anyway, your thoughts.
Wait. You mean to tell me someone wants to blame the head coach because what? He created an environment to where they don't respect him? Then how the hell Black Monday passed him? His team ain't in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? His team ain't in the playoffs. He's got his backup defying him. So just imagine what Taysom Hill and Carr are doing. And let's not even go to the prima donna receivers in the nutty D-line. Come on, man. You can't. No, don't do that. Don't do Dennis Allen like that. Dennis Allen does not have that type of environment. Does he?
Let me go ahead. Let me trigger you a little bit more because TJ's watching. I'm gonna trigger him a little bit more. TJ, okay. It would never happen with Bill Belichick, and I'm cut it out, man.
Stop it.
Maybe in 2005, but
what God is Bill Belichick right now? Belichick's just a little 70-year-old man who used to talk about winning championships with Brady. He's winning 4 games a year now. It would happen. Daily Thomas went through that. It happened too. Trust me. You just got to get the right nut in there, and every coach will get pushed at a certain point. But, Dennis Allen, Jameis Winston, either W guy. No, he can't. He can't defy you. You got to fire him on Monday.
So there was a situation where I actually agreed with the players in Seattle. The players in Seattle won their final game of the regular season, missed the playoffs, but were pictured smoking cigars in the locker room. And I believe Julian Love, their safety or whatever, said, these are cigars left over from when I had my first child and, 2 weeks ago, and we just celebrated then. I don't think he owes an explanation. The season's over. You just won a game. You finished with a winning record. You're ending the season. You're healthy. I don't have a problem with them having a cigar. They just completed an NFL season. They just won an NFL game. They just had a winning season. They supposed to sit in the locker room and cry? I don't have a problem with this cigar.
They pack the U-Haul and let's meet at the local spot or your backyard. But there's no reason to smoke up an NFL locker room like that if you're not going to the playoffs. What are we celebrating? That's not the goal, 17 games and a winning record. It's to punch your ticket to go try to get you one of them right over my shoulder right there, one of them Lombardi trophies. That's what this is about. That's what the cigars come out at. But these kids don't give a damn. They're going to celebrate whatever they want to celebrate because it's about likes, views, followers, and comments. And that right there will get you some likes, some comments, and maybe a couple followers. But I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't. There's nothing to smoke and celebrate. You're going home next week. You're going home on Tuesday.
You just won a football game. You just won a football game. You can't be happy about that?
Yes, but why are you smoking a cigar? That is a celebratorial thing. Yeah, they don't know what to celebrate. They don't practice anymore. I mean, they don't work. And now they want to smoke when you're going home next week. You can smoke all you want over your house. Go to your house and open a big box from the baby. And, somebody bring some Pampers over there because you definitely need some Pampers. They definitely going through Pampers. I know that for a fact. And get you some cognac, get you some Shay, whatever you want to drink, and do it at home. Because there's no reason for that locker room to smell like that for 2 weeks because you know it will. And there's no football being played there. There's no playoff game to prepare for. Come on, stop, guys. Come on, stop. Stop it. You watch Joe Burrow do that in a national championship. That's what he had won that day when he popped out the cigars. I'm like, shit, I couldn't even pop a Budweiser after I won that trophy, and they smoking cigars just for finishing 17 games? That's it? Is that where we're at? Yeah. You said it, the wussification of the NFL, and there it is, and you ain't got a problem with it. Look at you. You got to hold the line at some point. Whitlock, come on, man. You ain't won nothing. You ain't did nothing.
I agree with holding the line, but I mean, kids are kids, and
these are grown men. We are old, and we can say kids, but they are grown men, and they understand what it is. Go out, man. Go take you a shower. Do your little interview, because nobody wants to talk to a non-playoff team. You ain't got to worry about the interview lasting long. Trust me. I've been on a couple of those teams where they come through there. Hey, man, how's it? We'll see you next year. That's it. No one wants to talk to the team that's going home. So no one wants to smell your stinking cigar. And I've never seen a guy have a baby get some Cohibas or a Bahiki or, Davidoff or something nice, Patron. You don't get that nice. You get those little nasty cigars at the 7-Eleven delivered to you for your baby. You got some real deals. They call peppers and Similac and milk and a whole bunch of other stuff, buddy. I don't have time for no cigar. I do love you sometimes.
You may have won this debate. I'm going to have to reconsider.
Thank you.
All right, now let's move on to this weekend and people that will be playing important games this weekend. the most pressure, I think, of virtually anybody in the playoffs is on the Miami Dolphins. Both Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa, they've taken a lot of the shine off themselves over the last month of the season. They were both hot commodities midway through the season. Tua was right in the MVP race, and Mike McDaniel was the great coach that everybody loved on the in-season, what do they call it? Hard Knocks.
Yes.
And, he had little dance steps, and he was the cool guy. Now,
They need a black guy,
they don't
too?
beat this Kansas City team. Yeah,
need a black guy,
he's
too?
African-American.
Okay,
He's
all right,
African-American.
Making sure.
And so, who's under more pressure here, Tua or Mike McDaniel?
I really think they did him a favor by putting the game on Peacock to where, the world can't see it, I never thought they'd do that to Patrick Mahomes. You know what I'm saying? When you talking about Peacock and streaming, I saw Joe Rosen pitch a fit down here in South Florida yesterday on the radio. I mean, they went off. And, the NBC was like, no, we got you down here in Miami. But if you north of Glades Road, you're in trouble. So you know what? We was giving the MVP to Tyreek Hill, and Tua was doing his thing. Mike McDaniel with the great, variation of the Shanahan family tree and coaching tree and all of this. I told you, when you get late in the year, November, December, and then playoffs, the field is going to shrink. And they're going to have to turn and hand that ball off to somebody in this, thinking this way, pitching back that way. Nah, son. What? I was wondering what this play they were running against the Buffalo Bills on Sunday Night Football. I'm like, what is that? And then when the Bills figured it out, it's all about blocking and tackling, folks. If your front ain't ready to block, your defense ain't ready. 3rd and 13, big boy Wilkinson got a chance to knock Josh Allen and get the ball back. He runs through him. What? I think the pressure's on the defense. They lost Chubb. They lost the other rusher. Now it's on Jalen Ramsey and the rest of them boys to figure out maybe the back end has got to carry the front end until we can figure out a way to get us a rush or something. But we can't keep depending on our high-powered offense to give us 30 points because that ain't what happens in the NFL playoff games. It's not. The field is going to shrink, and you're going to have to block big Chris Jones up front if he decides he wants to play, because he decides if he wants to play or not all the time. You see him rolling around on the ground for $1.2 million, and you're talking about making 30? Come on, brother. Come on, man. I don't get it, man. These kids, you're losing the big prize by the little pebble in your shoe. Come on, man. Straighten up the pebble and then go get the prize, because the game is simple. It's very simple, but who's under more pressure? I'm going to say Tua, because the city of Miami doesn't believe in him. He has very little backing down here in South Florida. I'm telling you. We was talking about the kid not even be able to stand up, take one hit, and we might not ever see him again. This man, did he lead the NFL in passing? I think he did, didn't he?
Yards, baby. Yeah.
Yards. That's leading the league in passing. That's how you become the number one defense, by yards, not by points, by yards. They do yards. It's easier to add up that way, I think. I think they stat guys, ain't real good with numbers. But the pressure's on Tua. He's got to play a game to go in somebody else's house and get it done, because the two things that I know travel in a playoff game is a defense and a run game. And Miami ain't got either. So it's going to come to the quarterback. He's going to have to play that game against Patrick Mahomes with his old, hood ornament, Tyreek Hill. And then let's see if Waddle gets healthy, because they're going to need him. They're going to need him. I mean, Kansas City doesn't have a defensive backfield that you run from. You go to them. Trust me. And if they can find a way to protect up front and get that ball up, we can have us a shootout. We can have us a 40-45 game, 40-42 game. And I'm all down for that. Why not? Come on.
I as it relates to being on the Peacock, they're hoping that they can bait more of these streaming services into paying astronomical prices, because people are going to sign up for Peacock subscriptions just to see this game. And so they'll sacrifice Taylor Swift, the cheap Patrick Mahomes, everybody, to bait these streaming services into doing.
Well, I guess if you want to watch
deals.
Taylor Swift, you got to stream it. You want to be a Swiftie and you want to watch a girl up in the stand, you got to stream it. But they ain't going for that okie doke. No, not week 1. It's just wild card. No, nobody buys a streaming service for a year for one game. Come on, stop it.
I'm not. I'm a Chiefs fan. I'm going to follow it on the internet.
You know what? I'm going to call you on FaceTime. I'll call you like me and my kid do. When I can't get it, you go on FaceTime and then you just turn it around and just watch it. I got you, my dog. I got you. The old way of stealing it, baby. The new way of stealing it. You FaceTime.
Finally, a game that's near and dear to your heart. Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a shot here against a reeling Philadelphia Eagles team. I want to show you, we have probably one of the great authorities on football. Many people around here call him Nostradamus. I call him John Hadley, our producer. John Hadley is one of the great touts of NFL football.
No, he's an Eagle fan. That's all that is. That's just Eagle talk. Well, I've seen that before when I showed up at the 2002 NFC Championship game in the vet, and we were supposed to get trounced, ran out of town. Every Philadelphia fan had their bags packed, and they was in San Diego in Jack Murphy Stadium in the Pacific Ocean on Torrey Pines golf course, doing it at the North and the South course. Yeah. Okay. Does he ever report on Jalen Hurts' finger? Because when I saw that finger, it looked like his finger exploded. Or was it just me? I mean, dripping blood.
Put it back up. Put it back, because I didn't get a chance to read Hadley's quote here. Touchdowns. One of the great NFL. The Eagles will dominate this game, winning by 3 touchdowns. The Eagles -3 is a gift sent from the point spread Valhalla? Am I reading that right?
Yeah.
It's a blowout.
Yes, sir. It's a blowout.
What is a Valhalla? I guess I'm not smart enough. I don't know.
It's a nice boat. The last time I checked,
Viking
a little Valhalla.
heaven? Oh.
Viking. It's a Viking small boat.
This is why we call him Nostradamus. He's got him winning by 3 touchdowns.
Actually, can I get 100?
Well, hold on. Be careful, Warren. I know you owe me already from the national championship game. Remember, I took Michigan. You had Washington.
Just 100. That's fine. Fast pay, make fast friends.
Michael Penix.
I have your app. It's coming. Hey.
Michael Penix looked like trash.
Dude, the O-line, your boys, look like trash. Because number 55 from Michigan ain't rushing nobody at the next level. With that weak-ass spin move in the same spot. Are you kidding me? And he just trashed over 73, 71, falling over. Don't get me started. But then they still was 1 for 10 on 3rd down in the 3rd quarter. It was just a couple plays. I had no problem with that game. Play like trash.
I've never seen happier feet on a quarterback than Michael Penix. He never stepped into a throw all night, Warren.
And he couldn't.
He never stepped into it.
He couldn't. He couldn't.
Look, I'm gonna stereotype him, but damn it,
don't do that.
When I get a black quarterback, I want a little running. And I'm just sorry. When I have a black quarterback, I want a little tiny taste of Lamar Jackson.
Just a little something. Just a little something. Just give me a little back, little sprinkle of Mike Vick, a little Randall Cunningham, a little something. Eh? You're right.
Yeah. This dude moved like Jared Lorenzen, man. I'm like, what?
And you found
and he was backpedaling the entire time.
Yeah, but that O-line did him no justice. And every time he put it in somebody's hand, it looked like they just had a beeline straight for a Michigan defender. Ain't try to shake nobody, just run right into him. Boom, boom. I'm like, you do realize Michigan is in the Big Ten, and they do this all the time. They run into things all the time in the Big Ten. That run, play action, pass. At one point, I didn't think Jim Harbaugh took the greatest quarterback in Michigan's history out of the game and put a brother in there, and they went to run an option. I was like, what the hell is going on here? Washington didn't want to tackle. And when you don't want to tackle and block, you're going to lose a football game. That's what they didn't do, block and tackle. It's just that simple, Ridlock. You know this. You've been in the trenches, baby. You ain't going to block and tackle, it's over.
Finally, just for clarity's sake, you think the Bucs win outright against the Eagles, or it's just not going to be a blowout? What are your Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to do?
It will not be a blowout. No way it's a blowout. And, I give my boys a fighting chance because the one thing about Baker Mayfield, ain't no fear in his game. Ain't no fear in his game. And somebody's going to have to cover Mike Evans and Godwin. Somebody's going to have to cover. And if they do what Matt Patricia been doing the last couple weeks on third down, we got more than a damn fighting chance because the first snap of the game, he took Hassan Reddick and dropped him off. Please do that when you bring your ass to Tampa on Monday night. Put Hassan Reddick in the back and let him drop and look for crossers and all. Yes, do that. And our gunslinger gonna shoot right now because Baker read it, baby. Hey, we played buck ball last week and won 9-0. I had a tingling down my spine, baby. Won 9-0. Buck ball still working, Tampa, baby, but it's on Baker. This one's on Baker, and the quarterback's coming in a little wounded. If we can shut down that run game, because I really don't think the Philadelphia Eagles run swift enough. They want some of that Mike Vick you talking about. And they put their black quarterback in bad situations with a bum knee and not feeling healthy. Please come with that same plan for me. And Matt Patricia, please enjoy third down for me. One more week, boy. One more week, 50% or higher. Yes, we go to the next round. Where we going in?
Not sure. Maybe the Kansas City. I don't know.
No, we have to go to the number one seed. We'd be the lowest seed.
You're in the NFC. My bad.
Yeah, we're in the NFC.
You're in the NFC.
Kansas City's going to go on the road if they win this game after this week. They have to go on the road for the first time ever in the playoffs. Ooh. And they don't have a run game
if
or
they
defense to travel. If they win. Yeah. And they don't have a defense.
All right.
Hey, we'll see.
Thank you, Warren. Hit my cash app with that hundo. Thank you.
I am.
Appreciate
fast pay make fast friends. Yeah, I know. Hey, tell Notre dumb ass I want 100 too. I want 100 on my Bucs because he ain't gonna just disrespect us with that stinking eagle up there. And the stinking eagle don't look like it's ready to soar. I don't want to hear that.
Hadley, I'm gonna cover your bet on this. Not that I agree with you, Hadley, but I just want you and Warren to have action. So I'll cover Hadley on that bet. Thank you, Warren. Well, that's a great way to end the week. Warren Sapp talking football. All right, let's play some tomorrow, and we'll see you next week, hopefully.
Waiting for the countdown, coming off the breakdown, standing in line for freedom. Looking for a breakout, feeling like a standoff, nothing in life like freedom. Came in like a fighter, striking like a ladder, making all these moves for freedom. I want freedom. No negotiation, my sister, no relation. We all just wanna have freedom. Sitting on the corner, never been alone. I'm breaking my back for freedom. Blessed, we are living, get back, we are.